Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder.
Good morning and welcome to Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show, brought to you by Les Stanford. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Matt Broder.
Good morning.
And Terry Foster.
Hello.
How's your morning going so far?
It's just the morning. You know, it's cold, chilly. Kool-Aid has already had a magnificent morning. He hasn't been woken up.
It's already started. And
I'm excited because Gabrielle, you look like a little high school girl today.
I do?
Yeah.
You know what? I knew when I did this look that I was probably going to get some comments from Terry. But, you know, we got the little pigtails going on this morning. It was an early morning, so we went with the hair kind of up. Different.
Terry, would you always sit behind the girl with the pigtails in school? Back in the day.
I did. You know who had the biggest pig? Gail Jones.
Gail Jones.
She had really big pigtails. The problem is her hair stunk.
Well, I hope my hair doesn't stink.
I'm sure it doesn't. I didn't like it. I was like, I actually like Gail. And I said, damn, is her head stinking? I said, yeah. How did your head stink?
Don't shampoo well enough.
I guess so. Well, she was in elementary school, so I can understand it.
But you know who didn't stink all too much? Those Detroit Lions.
Let's go.
Out in Los Angeles, they went out there. They're 7-2 now after winning against the Chargers on the road, 41-38. They went to Los Angeles and didn't put the loss in Los Angeles.
Hey, nice, Gabby.
Took a page out of Broder's book. I thought you'd like that one.
Gabby Lasso, I like it.
Wow, looks like this show wants to win an Emmy Award or something.
We're on the way, Terry. You know we are.
Yeah.
Best writing there ever was.
Yeah. Best writing on the fly.
On the spot.
I went off the dome like Harry Mack.
I did think about that one ahead of time. I will not lie.
Hey, sometimes you got to prepare.
Needed some brewing.
Can I attack our local media?
Go right ahead, Terry Foster.
All right. I was sick and tired of hearing how Dan Campbell gambled on that 4th and 2 at the end. That was not a gamble. He had to go for it on 4th and 2.
Why?
Because if, let's say he kicks a field goal with 1:47 left, they lose the game. Because the way the Chargers are playing, they would have come right back and scored.
Yeah.
Then if they missed the field goal, they would have come right back and scored. So his only option was to get a first down and milk the clock. Other than that, the Lions would. That's not a gamble to me. That's like we got to do it.
Yeah. The Chargers' 5 possessions before that all resulted in touchdowns. So they were scoring at will on the Lions in the second half. There was no way they were going to be able to stop them. So Terry, I'm with you 150%. You got to go for it there, and they did. There was no hesitation.
And then I read a quote. What other coach would have done that in that situation? I said probably 30 NFL coaches.
The only one who wouldn't was probably on the opposite sideline.
Right. Now, you don't go for it. Let's say it's like a 14-7 game and nobody's really moving the ball. You probably don't do it. But, I was reading all these stories and seeing all these comments. Oh, Dan Campbell gambled. No, that was not a gamble. If he doesn't do it, they lose the game.
Also, he went for it on 4th down a couple times in that game before that. It's not like going for it on 4th down is something new to Dan Campbell. He's getting in he's aggressive. He's aggressive. We saw it a couple different times. 4th and 5 in that first quarter. What was it, about 3 minutes ago? 4th and 5. And what do? Run it right up the middle. That was the game for me.
This is a perfect segue for me to our pessimistic and optimistic, because on Sunday's show, Matt, part of your optimism was, do we see an aggressive Dan Campbell coming back on those 4th down decisions? And I think you might have been looking into the crystal ball, or as Terry says, your bunions might have been telling you what was about to happen, because you were spot on with that.
Yeah, and 1 point away in my Detroit Lions score. I was a little off in my Chargers score. But no, I had this feeling that the offense was going to play good, and I was kind of going out on a limb saying they were going to score that many points, but they had all the weapons back. That offensive line was healthy. David Montgomery and Gibbs are both healthy and running like madmen, and then all the weapons on the outside. Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Raymond, Josh Reynolds, they all were there. They all were healthy, and Jared Goff and Ben Johnson had themselves a day. It all came together. That first half was one of the best offensive halves I've ever seen.
That's really cute.
It was.
But do you know who said the smartest thing on the last show?
Let me guess, Uncle Terry.
Me.
I had a feeling that was coming.
What'd you say?
I said we're going to see a new Lions running game
Yes,
where
you did.
Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs are kind of the number one backs.
That was the next on my list for the optimism. Just so
Oh,
you know,
okay,
I was going to give you your flowers, but let's hear it because they showed up.
Because if you're going to win in the NFL, and I mean not over 4 or 5 games, over 4 or 5 years or 10 years, whatever you want to do, if you want to have a sustained run, you have to have 2 running backs. The old days of let's run David Montgomery 25, 30 times, it's cute, but he's going to get injured. He's going to be on the sidelines most of the time. So you want to split it. Both guys, somewhere between 13 and 15 touches, and Gibbs had a couple more through the air. But that's the way you have to do it in the National Football League. And so when they got confidence in Jameer Gibbs, they switched their running game to a 2-back system.
Yep.
Which you either have you have to have 1 back plus a quarterback who can run.
Good point.
Jared Goff cannot run. And see if you can remember this. Jared Goff runs like what?
Oh no.
Quicksand?
Like he has. Darn. I got it, and
What?
I don't want to say it.
What
Like
is
he
it?
has my purse up his rear end.
Yeah, yeah. He runs like he's got a purse up his ass.
That's right.
Oh man, I was like, couldn't
And
have
not just any
remembered that
purse, one of those
first.
big Coach
Gucci.
purses that
Yep.
Gabby carries around that you could put like a small child in, and your dog and all that kind
Big
of stuff.
toe, a big toe.
Right, big toe.
But Jameer Gibbs with 14 rushes and David Montgomery with 12 rushes. That duo was something a lot of people were looking forward to seeing come alive in this game. Dan Campbell calling them the 2-headed monster, which I think is rightfully so, a rightfully earned title, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what they envisioned when they drafted Jameer Gibbs. That's why.
And that's what he said.
Yeah, that's why Brad Holmes was pounding that table. This was the vision of how they're going to use David Montgomery, or at least how they're going to have Montgomery and Gibbs together and just utilize them to create mismatches on that defense. We didn't know who, regardless of who was in the game, we didn't know if it was going to be a run up the middle, run to the outside. They're going to use them both in the pass game. You'd think Jameer Gibbs would be the one running for 75 yards and a touchdown, but it was David Montgomery on a broken play that Jared Goff audible to at the line of scrimmage. It was one of those games, all the things were kind of falling together on top of an amazing game plan from Ben Johnson. They were always one step ahead on offense.
And you heard David Montgomery after the game even note the fact that, he's had to sit back and watch the team and watch how well that they've done, and he's had to sit back and watch how well Jameer Gibbs has progressed during his time away, and that it was kind of motivation for him stepping out onto that field. And I'm going to say it, Jameer Gibbs is giving him a run for his money. They do look different, and they're both there for a reason, and they complement each other very nicely. But, he was comfortable before, David Montgomery was, and now you have Jameer Gibbs in there, and I think that's exactly what they both need, is someone, iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
Iron sharpens iron, and they needed to both be at this level for the Lions offense to look the way it's looking.
Right, and then this is a problem for the rest of the NFL because then you get different looks. I mean, people, when they look at NFL games, say, well, the team either runs the ball or they pass the ball. That's not true. You have so many different aspects when you run the football. There's a lot of looks, there's a lot of fronts, there's a lot of blocking schemes that are different. So now when you have these 2 backs rolling, the Lions can have a very diverse running game, and it's going to give the league lots of fits.
Yeah.
We have to cover one pessimistic.
Uh-oh.
And that was Matt. I picked out of the bunch that this was a prove-it game for the Chargers to stay in the hunt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't think the Chargers exactly proved it in this game, would you say?
They gave a
I
pretty
don't
good
know.
effort.
I think they did. I mean, this could have gone either way. If not for, I'm going to say this, if not for the coaching of Dan Campbell, it could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
So you think that this was still enough for them to prove that they are in the hunt?
I haven't sort of dissected how many games they have, like literally what their chances are to get into the playoffs, but I don't think this knocks them out completely. I think they did enough. I mean, Justin Herbert was sensational on offense. Keenan Allen looked incredible. There were some things you just worry about. A Brandon Staley coach team. He's a defensive-minded head coach, and their defense couldn't stop the Lions' offense. Again, I don't know how many defenses in the NFL could, so I don't know. That might have been just good enough of a game they played for him to keep his job, for them to
And you know what? This was
going.
an unfair game for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes, it was.
They had 6 days of rest. The Lions are coming off a bye. That should never happen in the National Football League. So to me, the Chargers showed that they're a good team, that they can battle anybody, and that they're not going to go away.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play them in the playoff. If they were a 7-8 seed, I wouldn't want them. I know the Lions aren't going to play them in the playoffs.
Well, actually, if you're the Lions, you do want to play them in the playoffs because then you'd be in the Super Bowl.
That's true, Terry.
Right.
We'll take another shootout in Vegas against the Chargers.
So now we are going to take a quick break and get back and talk about our game balls because there's a lot of good happening on the Lions offense, and I think our game balls are going to reflect that. So stick with us here. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider show. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning as we recap the Lions win over the Chargers. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. We're kicking things off this morning, and segment 2, we are covering our game balls. And I'm just going to put it out here right now. Hands up. Of course I cheated.
Cheater.
Of course I cheated.
Well, that's a big surprise.
I cheated. Okay, I did. I'm going to jump right in because I'm sure we're going to have lots to discuss just aside from my cheating. So, taking a peek here.
So you picked 2 people. Gabby, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs.
According to Dan Campbell, they are a 2-headed monster. So technically, I can count them as one.
That's fair. They both played really well. We just talked about it.
Truly missing out on this list
This one time.
if they both were not up there.
I agree. It was hard to decide.
List.
It would be hard to decide. I'll forgive her for this one, Terry, if you will, because they both played pretty sensationally.
And just to put it out there, I was the last one to pick the game ball. Both of you picked, and neither of you picked either of them. So it's actually your guys' fault.
I think we're going to start calling her Gabrielle Cheat Phillips instead of D.
I think so. But Terry, why Amon-Ra St. Brown? I mean, besides the obvious 8 catches for 156, you're impressed with Amon-Ra St. Brown, aren't you?
The 156, but also he helped stop the pass rush. I mean, this is a wide receiver, and he goes back and he's making sure that Jared Goff doesn't get hit during the game. I mean, he does things that you don't expect him to do. He's like, okay, what do you need me to do? I'll do it. I don't care if it's pass pro or catch passes or block downfield. He just does everything.
Dan Campbell calling him the most reliable guy in the league.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
Game-changing player. When the game is bigger, when the moment is bigger, he shows up bigger. I mean, he talks about Amon-Ra St. Brown so highly, and then also talks about his relationship with Goff so highly and how strong that relationship is, and you saw that on the field.
Yeah. You'd have a hard time if you were starting a team today and you had all the receivers at your disposal to draft or to start your team with. It'd be a hard decision not to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown with all the everything Terry was just talking about, all the intangibles, the extra things he does to help a team, and just that mentality he has. We can see it come out in Jameson Williams in the block game. David Montgomery's long run. It was Jameson Williams who finished it off. That sort of tough man mentality with the chip on your shoulder, that oozes out of the veins of these players. I'm not saying Brown's special. I mean, he can get a game ball just about every week.
8 receptions for 9 targets.
Right. That's pretty special. And now, when you go to Lions practice, you see more and more guys on the jug machine. It's not just Amon-Ra St. Brown. It used to just be him and maybe a couple others. Now it's like 4 or 5 dudes doing that thing.
That spreads. It's like a virus. It spreads.
And he said at the beginning of the season, when he was asked about being a leader on the team, he was like, I could be, I could not be. I just hope like I show up, and then if people want to follow, great. If they don't, they don't. But that's the kind of man that you want on the Detroit Lions, that his attitude isn't somebody shoving down your throat,
right,
like I am a leader on this team. It's he just shows up, he's himself, he puts in the work, and people will follow.
You know what he does? He does things that people don't think about. Because then you're like a player. So I'm working hard, and then you look at the mind and say, well, man, I never thought about doing that, so I'm going to do it too. That's the type of leadership that he provides. He's not a yeller. He's not going to scream at you. He's not going to say, hey, do this, son. He's just going to do stuff, and you look at it and say, okay, hey, that looks good to me. Let's try it.
And doesn't that make all the draft picks from Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell just fit that much better? They're guys who just want to play football, want to be around other ball players. They want to be in the gym, in the practice facility all the time. You don't need that extra force to get them in there.
Yeah.
They're going to be there, and then they see a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, some of these young veterans who just have this work ethic, this mentality that this is why same old Lions is in the past, because these guys just think differently. This is a new team for sure.
Now, Matt, you have quarterback Jared Goff as your game ball. What is your reasoning here? There's plenty of reasons why, obviously, but what is your reason? Yeah,
Jared Goff, I mean, he's not afraid of a shootout, and he went toe-to-toe with Justin Herbert, who's one of the best passers in the league. It seemed like, although I could give so much credit to Ben Johnson, to the offensive line for giving him the time, Jared Goff keeps getting better right in front of our eyes, and we saw it just about each quarter develop a different type of Jared Goff, a different type of leader, on top of the ability to just deliver the ball to his receivers in space. He's so accurate. He's so efficient. And you think, one of my favorite parts of this game, it was this David Montgomery run, the 75-yard run that was never supposed to happen. The play call in from Ben Johnson was the wrong play call, or they were in the wrong formation. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff kind of realized it, and Goff pivoted to a run play that they're familiar with, that he thought would work at the time, and that whole offense just kind of rallied around. And I know I'm kind of building this up a little more than it was in the moment, but that entire offense, came together to have this incredible play that, they've practiced day in and day out, and that doesn't happen. Jameson Williams doesn't make that block down the field. If he's not working with Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he doesn't trust Jared Goff to have him in the right spot. There are so many things that go into this, but his ability to recognize things pre-snap and make these reads, his development, it just keeps getting better and better. I'm a big Goff fan.
We talked a lot about Goff v. Herbert when we were going into the show, and you mentioned it, but I also want to get your thoughts, Terry, because it was such a huge conversation that we were having last episode. Do you agree with Matt that Goff went toe-to-toe with Herbert?
He absolutely did, and had a good time doing it. While you were nervous, and maybe other people were nervous, he's like, all right, let's go. We'll go another time. So he absolutely did. Didn't turn the ball over. He made some tough throws. Yes. There were some throws I'm like, who's he throwing to? Oh, he saw something I didn't see. So, yeah, he absolutely did. And could he do it every week? Probably not, but he did it when he had to.
Yeah. I'd say not every quarterback. I'd probably say not many quarterbacks can make some of those throws. When you think about the 2 or 3 yard throw to Laporta on 4th down, it was the 4th down and 2 play near the end of the game. Like, that was his third read or his third option in his progression. And then he delivered a perfect ball away from the defender where Laporta could make a little diving catch and grab it. He's been on the money.
Yeah, it was actually his third. Wait, how can I phrase it? It was his third option, but his 4th read.
Okay.
His first, he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So he came back to that because the first time he saw it, it wasn't open. So he went to his 4th option and then went back to his 3rd.
Good find. Good notice. I didn't see
1,
that.
2, 3, 4, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3.
That's hard to do.
Magic
and you know
numbers.
what you need to do that? You need protection.
You do. And he got that.
Yep.
I think that'll lead right into maybe your 2 pick. I mean, that protection that Jared Goff got was also a force in the run game.
I mean, I just want to run down here because I'm sure
Pun
everyone
intended.
knows. Good ones. I didn't even mean to set that one up.
I'm here for you.
We're just firing this morning.
Teamwork.
I loved Dan Campbell's press conference after talking about these two. Obviously, we talked about them being called the two-headed monster. They're both dangerous and unique, but that this was a part of the vision. He put it out there. He said, we always knew that this was possible. This was something that people were talking about from the start. When Jahmyr Gibbs was not getting the touches that everyone thought he should be getting, when he wasn't carrying the ball the way people thought he should be for how high of a draft pick the Lions took him at. But this just proves that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes were not worrying about that this whole time because they knew that something like this was coming down the line, and that is... add it to the list of reasons to trust Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and what they were building in Detroit. Gibbs with 14 carries, 77 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns, and David Montgomery with 12 carries, 116 rushing yards, and a touchdown. Really keeping up with each other neck and neck right there in this game. I don't think would have gone the way that it did without both of them in there.
Right. You know, and here's the thing. Here's the other thing the Lions are telling us. Don't rush us. We're going to develop these guys at our own pace, their own pace. When they're ready, we will unleash them. We're not going to listen to the fans who want everybody to start day one and be a star day one. It doesn't work. You have to develop players, and they've developed Gibbs. Hopefully they're developing J-Mo more and more, and he's developing himself. But, when the cake is not ready, they're not going to serve the cake.
No cake for them.
But now they're having their cake and they're eating it too.
They are. They're special. And just the way they run together, it makes it so difficult for a defense to not just game plan, but when you think about 2 elite edge rushers in Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, and again, most of the credit goes to Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker. But when you have 2 running backs, you don't know whether they're going to run to the outside, run in between the tackles, or run in between the tackles and then cut it outside. It makes it really difficult to scheme a defense up with the linebackers, with those edge rushers. What are you going to do? You want to bring pressure. You also want to shut down the run. You don't know if they're going to stay to the outside. It just kind of neutralizes those 2 guys from either crashing all the way in or staying on the outside waiting for Gibbs to only run to the outside. No, he's great at going down the middle and bouncing it to the outside.
And he wasn't on our list, but I do have to give a little bit of credit. So, yes, I'm making a 3rd game ball.
Cheater!
To Riley Patterson because he went 2 for 2 on field goals and 5 for 5 on the extra points. 11 points on the board from Patterson. 41 longest, 41-yard longest kick of the game.
Isn't it ironic, though, that game ended with a kick? Like the last thing either of those 2 coaches wanted to do all game was use a kicker. And there you go.
We used him a lot, and we used him a lot the last time the Lions played, so he deserves another game ball. Sorry.
I'm not giving a game ball to a guy that kicks a 41-yard field goal. That's supposed to be automatic in the National Football League. I don't care if it's the last play of the game. Sitting on his ass for 3
A lot of pressure, though.
He's sitting on his ass for 3 hours, so I said, come on in and win the game.
That's what you get paid for, that pressure. Not your leg, dealing with pressure like that 1 time a year, maybe 2 times. He did it. I'm glad. I don't know if it's a game ball worthy.
I mean, didn't Dan Campbell give him the game ball?
I know he did, and what would Dan Campbell do? I get it. It was a big kick. I don't want to take anything away from Riley Patterson, but
you know what I'm going to do?
He shouldn't have been in that position.
Screw
in the
you
first
guys.
place.
I'm going to have 6 game balls next week.
Maybe I'm just reviewing Dan Campbell's game ball. I'm not giving him mine, okay? We are going to talk a little bit more about Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, and Ben Johnson in the next segment, going over our coaching review of the Lions versus Chargers in Los Angeles. Stick with us here. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder, Terry Foster, kicking off your game recap here on a Tuesday morning at Woodward Sports. Thank you to Les Stanford ding, for sponsoring this show. We really appreciate it. We're going to get into our coaching review from the performance on Sunday evening. I mean, it was a 4 o'clock game. I would count that as an evening. So this was the first time that we have seen all of the Lions' offensive weapons back on the field at one time since week 5. Was this Ben Johnson's best game of the year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to see what he was able to cook up after a bye week, he had that offense firing on all cylinders. I mean, it was poetry in motion. There were so many different things he was doing, and he just felt like he was 2 steps ahead of the Chargers defense at all times. It was special. 177 rush yards in the first half. And the second half, they had to rely on the pass a little bit more. They were fine. It was really great to watch. Terry?
Yes and no. Mostly yes, but he had all his weapons, so it's going to look better. And he made some critical calls and ballsy calls, if you want to call them. But
ballsy calls, right?
Ballsy calls. So he did. But when you have your weapons, you call a better game.
Yeah.
And I hear coaches get credit for turning programs around, and they get credit for having a great offense or great defense. They got players.
True.
So that's what he's got. He's got players, and so he called a better game.
Yeah, and this is what he's been dreaming of. I think I said this on Sunday morning. He's been thinking about this since the second they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, how they're going to use all these weapons. But the thing that stands out to me about Ben Johnson in this game is some of the critical plays weren't to their superstars. Yes, it helps when you have your weapons, but it was that 3rd down and 1 call where they threw it over the top, a little play action to Brock Wright, their number 2 tight end. It was the play to Khalif Raymond where we saw Ben Johnson sprinting down the sidelines. Like he was able to craft up these plays for some of these, we'll call them role players, at super critical times, and that to me is the sign of just a really savvy offensive coordinator.
I think Brock Wright was the most surprised guy in the whole stadium that the ball was coming in.
Yeah. But he's used to that moment, that New York Jets game last year where he caught the one, another amazing Ben Johnson play where he catches it coming across the middle and takes it, 70 yards for a touchdown. Brock Wright. Dan Campbell had a lot of great things to say about Brock Wright. I can't remember if it was after the game or yesterday in his press conference.
It might have been yesterday.
Yeah, Brock Wright's one of those guys that just fits right into this team. When you need him, he's reliable. He steps up. Jared Goff, Ben Johnson, Khalif Raymond, they just stepped up, man.
Did you feel the Lions improved their performance in the red zone in this game?
Defensively, I thought they did. Actually, no, they were good defensively in the red zone.
They were very good defensively.
Except your boy Cam Sutton was moving wide receivers around like he was moving deck furniture on a ship.
Yeah,
he just kept moving them around, shoving people, and they go, what I do, dude? You know what you did? You pass interfere on just about every damn play.
They were a little soft, but they were pass interference.
They were stop it. They were calls.
Yeah,
they should have called them.
Can we
I'm not disagreeing.
Deck furniture?
Deck furniture. You know, you got the chair here. You want to move it over here, and then when you're on a cruise ship, the furniture moves out of place because the motion of the ocean and stuff like that. So he was like moving people around like you do. Let's do patio furniture since you can identify. Since you've never been on a cruise.
I have been on a cruise,
have you?
Terry.
All right. Excuse me. No, but
I just wasn't expecting that.
I know you have a beautiful patio in your backyard. So when you move the furniture around, that's what he was doing. He was moving people around and then saying, "What did I do?"
I didn't rearrange the whole cruise deck.
Do you think a cornerback has ever admitted to a pass interference call in the NFL?
No, don't admit to it. But just go like, shrug like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, instead of going, what the hell are you guys? Come on now.
Yeah. No, and I think we're about to move to Ben Johnson. We got to talk about that goal line stand, but I did like that they used Jahmyr Gibbs on offense in the goal line. Like David Montgomery had a 75-yard run, but it was Gibbs who they gave a couple shots to, at, what was it, second, third, and goal from the 2 or 3 yard line. I know he was stuffed once or twice, but they kept going to him, and he got his first red zone touchdown. So they're committed to trying some new things. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones coming back will help that even more, the red zone next week.
So one word answer, was this Ben Johnson's best game of the year?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. You heard it right here. That's it. Now we got to move on.
Yep.
To the defense. Going to put it in the words of Alex Anzalone's Instagram post.
Uh-oh.
The offense put this team on their back. Okay. Just mental note. Was this Aaron Glenn's worst game of the year? Was this Aaron Glenn's worst game of the year?
No. What do you think?
I'm going to agree. No. I thought the Ravens was worse.
Yeah.
Because I felt the Chargers executed at a high level. Against the Ravens, I just thought everybody was confused. They're like, we don't know where we're supposed to be. We don't know what we're supposed to do. And they were thinking the game rather than reacting. Except for your boy Cam Sutton, guys at least made some plays on defense. It was just the Chargers offense with Herbert, and they were just exceptional.
Yeah. I think that offense would have scored, 30 points on just about anybody. Granted, there were some things he definitely could have improved on, a couple in-game adjustments, but I almost look back to the Seahawks game as probably one that I'm a little more disappointed in. To me, this Chargers game was more about their personnel, that defensive line just not being able to get the sacks, not being able to get to Justin Herbert to affect him that much. And again, it's hard not to go back. Justin Herbert had an incredible game. Not many people were going to slow him down, but there were times in that defense, like, man, we just got to do something different. We got to give them a different look. We got to find a way to shut down Keenan Allen. They weren't able to, but their run defense was great. It was, I think, their highest ranked or their best ranked game in terms of rush defense, according to PFF, this season. So there were good things that they did, but they couldn't stop Justin Herbert in that pass game. They couldn't do it. The goal line stand, that's what it was. We forgot to talk about it on Woodward Nights last night, but we got to bring that up. And again, that is the personnel. They got to get out there and do that work. But to have a almost historic 7-8 play goal line stand would have been special.
And would have got away with it if not for your boy Cam Sutton moving around the deck furniture.
Was that on 4th down? He had that PI?
Yeah. I'm like, again?
Yeah. Props to the Chargers for going for it on 4th the second time. finding Quentin Johnston in the back of the end zone. But you're right.
You know,
Cam.
the Lions could have gotten out of that, but they had a roughing the passer.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 2 pass interference.
Yeah, both from Cam.
Right. It's your boy. So I'm just saying. So they could have gotten off the field if not for their mistakes.
How about your boy Anzalone forcing that pressure on the interception to Kirby Joseph?
Oh, you mean the guy that can't play? Yes.
Yeah, him.
I love that. Yeah, he did. He doesn't get credit for anything, but he forced the turnover.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we might need to see some more of Anzalone and those linebackers in the pass rush game, because it doesn't seem like the defensive line is going to be able to do that. So we might need to see more Anzalone, Jack Campbell coming off the edge, or different stunts in the middle to try to get to these quarterbacks. Because every time they played a good quarterback, not even necessarily a good offensive line, a good quarterback this season, they've struggled. They've given up 30 points.
Yeah, I agree with the Anzalone thing, because Anzalone, even though he's white and slow, he's like a heat-seeking missile when he hones in on the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been several times this season where he just beat the snot out of the quarterback. He got there quick, too.
He's a very underrated rusher, pass rusher.
He is.
Yeah.
And you know why?
He's white and nerdy.
Because he's white. People don't think white guys can run.
He's athletic. What did I say? He's sneaky athletic.
Can you run?
No, I'm slow as F.
I used to be able to, but I got old now, so I can't do anything.
Hey, we're growing up. Times change. Smarter up here.
Speaking of Jared Goff, we weren't speaking of him, but a direct quote from Jared Goff about Dan Campbell after the game that didn't get bleeped out on national television, that I can't believe it didn't get bleeped out. He doesn't even know that. He didn't know if he was allowed to say it or not, but he said he's got big balls there.
His cojones were massive this game.
Balls get bleeped out.
I'm not really
Would they
sure.
on national TV?
Know.
Let's talk about
but
balls.
I don't get it.
As I've seen replays of him saying this quote, everyone afterwards has said, I can't believe that didn't get bleeped out, or that no one's bleeping out the fact that we're recalling this. So gray area, but
I wouldn't bleep it out.
No. I agree with you. But thoughts on the people who are saying that Dan Campbell gambled at the end of the game? I know you touched on this earlier, and you're saying, get out of here with that.
Yeah. I want to smack him in the face. That was not a gamble. That was I got to do something to make sure our team stays one step ahead and win this ball game. That's the only choice he had.
Yeah.
He could not have kicked a field goal in that situation. He had to go for it.
Yeah.
No choice.
Agreed.
Yeah. My favorite one was the 4th and 5 in the first quarter where they ran it was 4th and 5 and they run out of the shotgun set just to draw right down the middle to David Montgomery. To go, all right, you guys can't stop us. Here we go. This is the mentality of the game. Try to stop us today.
You know what? That was a stupid play.
It was the dumbest one, but it was the best
they
play.
Executed.
Yeah. But that stuff like that sets the tone. Whatever the analytics wouldn't tell Dan Campbell to go for it there. I'm sure 99% would say not to go for it. But that's what makes Dan Campbell different. It's the feel of the game.
You can go for it, but you're not going to run in that situation. That made absolutely no sense, but it worked.
That too.
To round out the segment, I have to know, if you had to pick one coach that you believe is the reason that the Lions won this game, who would it be? Coach, coordinator.
Mark Brunell. No, it's Ben Johnson.
Okay.
I do like Mark Brunell. He's helped Jared Goff a lot. But no, it was a shootout in Los Angeles, 41-38. I'm going with Ben Johnson.
I'm going Dan Campbell because he kept saying, Ben Johnson, keep your boys on the field. This is a chess match. We are one step ahead of this team. We got to remain a step ahead of that team. That's why he went for it on 4th down at the end. That's why he did some of the things he did. He knew nobody's going to stop each other, but if we are striking first, we will win the game. If we have the ball last, we will win the game. So that was his whole mentality. That's why he did things he did. I'm going to go Dan Campbell.
And remember, they were stopped on 4th and goal or earlier in the game.
Right.
I forget which series it was. In the very next drive, they had the exact same situation of 4th and goal. There was no hesitation they were going to go for that. Instead of settling for 2 field goals, so 6 total points, he goes, all right, we'll just take 2 attempts to get 7. Hey,
My wife Abs was going nuts. She said, "That's stupid. They can't. They're going for it again. What is wrong with this guy?" I'm like, I think he should go for it now.
4 downs, get 10 yards with that offensive line.
Right.
I don't know what the analytics say about that.
Now, on the flip side, what coach or coordinator do you want to see the most improvement from going into these next 2 games that the Lions are going to play over the next week?
Is this even a debate? It's got to be Aaron Glenn. I think for the most part this season, the Lions' defense has been solid, but then it just spits out clunkers, spits out really bad games. Seattle, Baltimore, this one. So now the Lions' defense is placed in that position again. Prove that you're better than this. Prove that you can beat somebody on your own merits. So the Lions have been in this situation a couple of times. After the Seattle game, we're like, okay, maybe it's the same old Lions. And after the Baltimore game, they're not that good. But they always prove themselves. Now they got is this the sad sack Bears coming in now?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they should beat their asses.
They should.
Would you agree with Terry Foster on the room for improvement, Matt Broder?
Yeah, it's got to be Aaron Glenn, but I'll take it one step further, and I'll say Kelvin Shepard too. He's the linebackers coach, but he's in charge of the pass rush. He's in charge of that front 7. So I'm just gonna I'll take a little bit of the spotlight off of Aaron Glenn and say Kelvin Shepard. They got to find a way, some way, to get the players, to develop these players that they have, because they're not making any trades anymore. And Jason Pierre-Paul just signed with the Saints, so they got to get these guys that they have in this room now, plus James Houston, to get some pressure on the quarterback. Actually,
you mentioned
pressure is a funny word.
You know who they're going to have to rely on?
What?
Blitzaloni.
They might have to.
Yeah,
100%.
He's going to have to do it.
More on Matt's feelings on the pass rush in this next segment. Stick with us here. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford. Thanks so much to Les Stanford for sponsoring Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Lions Insider Show. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me Matt Broder and Terry Foster, here to start off your morning bright and early, Tuesdays at 7 a.m., Sundays, game days at 8 a.m. So just taking a look ahead at the schedule this next week, we will be here for a show on Sunday morning that will be airing at 8 a.m. And then we'll recap their performance on Tuesday. And then we'll be back around on Thursday morning. I believe we're going to be here at 7 a.m.
I think so.
For the show on Thursday morning on Thanksgiving. You can start your Thanksgiving with us. Put on a little Woodward and Main Street.
Breakfast with Woodward and Main.
Exactly.
Yeah, just as long as we don't have Thanksgiving breakfast, I'll be here.
You don't have Thanksgiving breakfast, right?
No, I don't. Yeah. But if they change their mind and say we're going to have turkey for breakfast, I'm not showing up.
Okay.
Well, all I got to tell you is we'll be here for you to have your coffee, probably with a little bit something extra in it that day, because it's a day
pumpkin
full
spice.
of. I wasn't going for pumpkin spice. I was going for a little something stronger, considering it's Thanksgiving. Yeah, a little Yeah, a little bit of that.
How about a big game out of JMO on Thanksgiving in honor of the little JMO,
maybe
little
we
Irish
will.
whiskey.
Maybe we will.
Want some rum? Nothing wrong with rum on Thanksgiving.
Rum, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, no. We have to do brandy on Thanksgiving.
Really? Brandy is a Thanksgiving drink?
Not really, but I just made it up.
Brandy. We were talking about Brandy
Fall.
last night, JB, the singer.
Carlisle.
Anyways, yeah. What?
What?
You never heard of Brandy the singer?
No, I was going with Brandy
No.
Carlisle. Isn't that?
You have
Oh,
not heard
no.
of Brandy. No, it's a woman named Brandy.
Yeah.
She is a singer, and she had a little comedy show too.
Yeah.
Brandy.
Moesha. That's
Moesha,
right.
right.
Well,
Back when TV
this
was
is when
good.
I've decided that we're straying too far from
I guess
football.
Brandy doesn't play in Lake Orion.
I guess not.
Didn't make it that far.
but like Brandy Carlisle.
I don't know.
No,
who
No,
that
she
is.
doesn't have she doesn't have a last name. It's
It's
Brandy.
just Brandy. It's like Brandy, Madonna, Brandy,
Right.
Prince.
Yeah, Prince.
Yeah. Did I say Ben Wallace? That's two.
So, Matt, what are your feelings on the pass rush?
It needs to improve. It needs to improve. No, you're seriously asking me that, right?
Yes, seriously.
I don't know necessarily what to do at this point. Like, because it's got to be something in that room now. There's got to be a change. I don't know if it's change in scheme or just certain development of players need to show up. Josh Pascal, Charles Harris we haven't seen in a while, Levi Onwuzurike. I don't know if they have the personnel to really have a consistent pass rush, but they got to find a way to get it somehow. If that's moving Aiden Hutchinson around more, bringing him to the inside, the interior of the defensive line, I don't know. Their run defense has been great, but they can't seem to get to the quarterback.
I got the answer. Alex Blitzalone.
Blitzalone.
Hey, they don't. Aaron Glenn doesn't like to blitz, but at this point, you gotta realize, gotta do it now because the pass rush isn't getting there. And I've seen on a couple occasions, Alex Blitzalone has gotten to the quarterback, caused a fumble, caused an interception, then another game where he almost got a safety. So he is getting to the quarterback because people aren't expecting. And what he's done, he goes out in pass coverage and he's like, all right, why am I still covering this guy? I better go attack the quarterback. So Alex Blitzalone can be the answer. They're going to have to blitz. Simple as that. Or wait for Houston to get back.
Yeah. But remember, he wasn't so special his first two games of the season, against the Chiefs and the Seahawks. He was doing some things, but it's not like he was this dominant pass rusher. They had him playing in coverage a lot. So I hope when he comes back, he's healthy, ready to go, and just laser focused on getting to that quarterback. Forget all the coverage. Just James Houston, go sack the quarterback.
We are almost at the halfway point of the Lions' schedule. My next question is, have the Lions still not played a complete game?
No, I don't think so. I think the defense, they showed this. It's tough. I want to give as much credit to Justin Herbert and the Chargers as possible, but there was a lot of meat left on the bone, I think, in that game, too. The offense played great. I don't have much opinion on that, but the defense needs to play better, and the third quarter wasn't that great. Like, there's still room for improvement, which is the exciting part.
Yeah, no, it's definitely no. But I think the whole NFL has not played a complete game. This has been a weird season.
Very
Right.
weird.
Normally, half the games are one-score games. Now, I think this year's like 70% of them. This weekend, 5 games were decided on last-second field goals. I mean, that's not uncommon, but the frequency that we saw is uncommon.
I think it was a record on Sunday.
Yeah,
Was
it had to
6?
be.
6
It's just
games?
a weird season.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it. Lions 72.
So you've mentioned that there's been some good Lions football. So what is the best half of football that the Lions have played this season?
Ooh, Terry, what do you think? This one, there's the Packers' first half was pretty special.
Yeah, they killed him there. I'm going to say the second half of the 7 games that they won because they did enough to win.
Second half, like of all 7 games?
Of all 7 games. Because
Really?
you figured out a game
Cheater.
how to win. Now, let's look at this Chargers game.
Uh-huh.
This was set up for same old Lions to lose this game.
Yep.
In the past, there was no way they would have won a game like this. But now they are finding ways to win games. Dan Campbell is doing things that a real coach does. to win games. But, yeah, maybe the first half of the Green Bay game was probably the best half because both sides played well and they just mollywopped the Packers.
Mollywop. I'm with you.
But this one, I mean, even though you had great offensive play, there technically are two sides to a football team, or maybe three. Defense and offense. The defense was never good, so I couldn't say any of these halves were the best of this season. But the first half of the Green Bay game was pretty solid.
I'm with you. We got to see Jared Goff and David Montgomery ran that game. That was, I believe, the one where he had 32 rushes. That first half of the Packers was an eye-opening experience for a lot of Lions fans. But yeah, that one, Chargers, they come out of the gate hot. It's usually the first half. They got to figure out what to do about coming out of the locker room. The third quarter isn't always so great. But yeah, those are my two first half favorites.
Now, I don't like to toot my own horn, of course not.
But go ahead.
But I'm about to say something brilliant again. I want you to remember this.
Everyone, ears up.
please.
Ears up.
The best half of the Lions season is yet to come.
Wow.
Because now they're playing also Rans. They've got their running back, two-headed monster in place. The defense will get better. And Jared Goff is not going to be touched in some half. Like he wasn't really touched the last game. Mm-hmm. I think they said there was 2 quarterback hurries. Yeah. He said, I wasn't touched the whole game. So that's going to be improved too because now this offensive line is healthy. They'll be healthy for at least a couple games. So the best half of football for this season yet to come, my friends.
We will see if the best half of Lions football is going to be played this Sunday at 1 p.m. at home against the Bears. TBD, we will see because the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. with Woodward and Main Street to preview your Lions game day. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. Thanks for tuning in on this Tuesday morning. We'll see you back here on Sunday. Have a great day.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.